I hope that at this point, everyone watching this has seen that video that was quite popular on YouTube from the economist Milton Friedman back in 1999, I think it was, essentially predicting the rise of Bitcoin. He spoke about the need for an internet native form of e-cash, I think it was called, where essentially A can send money to B on the internet without the involvement of any kind of middleman or government. And hey presto, January 3rd, I think, 2009, that was essentially born with Bitcoin. So it's here. What an amazing prediction, right? Dating all the way back to 1999. But we have potentially an even more impressive prediction this time round, dating all the way back to 1921. And it comes from the very well-known name and entrepreneur, Henry Ford. And I got all this information from Brian Cohen on Twitter, so I'll attach some of his tweets talking about all this right now. And it actually starts with a critique or kind of highlighting the problems with gold as a currency, as a kind of store of value for the world. So Ford said back then in 1921, again, just remember how early this was, the essential evil of gold in its relation to war is the fact that it can be controlled. Break the control and you stop war. And the simple way to break control of these international bankers and end their exploitation of humanity forever. And so what he offered as a possible solution to the problem of the world relying on gold was what he called an energy currency. And for anyone who knows anything about Bitcoin and kind of proof of work, mining, I think that's a word that would capture their attention, a kind of term. How could anyone have thought of something like this all the way back in 1921? And this is what he has to say. The world is being electrified. In times to come, money will be based on units of electricity. Government notes will be good for so many kilowatts of hour of electric current, or will be priced in that unit. All wages will be paid in electricity currency. Discoveries of future forces or methods of utilizing present forces, such as the radioactivity of the atom, will but make money based on electric energy the more necessary and the more logical. When the world has electric money, gold will be released for use in the arts and will be mined only for truly useful purposes. Would it not be just as well to stop mining gold for the purpose of sticking it away in a dark vault? If it is mined, in the days of money based on electric current, the results of the miner's labour will give pleasure to humanity through the artistic and utilitarian disposition of gold. How long before this new sort of money comes? The answer is not easy. Just now, for very practical reasons, a return to the gold standard through the world is ardently to be hoped. But it may not be so very many years before the nations of the world abolish the anachronism of gold as money or a basis for money and adopt electricity instead. I think you'd have to agree with me that reading about this energy currency, it bears a striking resemblance to that of Bitcoin. You know, the idea behind creating and generating Bitcoins today is that you have this enormous amount of computer power that is essentially burning electricity, performing this kind of proof of work to generate Bitcoins and to reward miners. It is remarkably impressive that someone was able to conceptualize this almost a century ago. It's also incredible when you remember that, you know, talking about the problems about gold back then, this was half a century before America and many countries in the world divorced themselves from the gold standard, able to create fiat that was backed by absolutely nothing at all, not gold, not silver. We've seen all the wars and all the issues now with quantitative easing and this kind of modern monetary theory, central banking policy that we've seen around the world that's led to the Cantillon effect and skyrocketing inequality and populism and political division all around the world, all caused by these monetary decisions. And even back then, Henry Ford envisioned some kind of energy currency that burned electricity to help with the creation of this money as a possible way to address all of these things. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And so even though most people in 2019 still don't really understand Bitcoin, they can't get their heads around cryptocurrency and the value proposition there. If you look back at very clever people in history from the 1990s with Milton Friedman or the 1920s with Henry Ford, those with an understanding of the monetary system can see that moving to some kind of e-cash or to some kind of energy currency is just the natural evolution of the technology of money. And it's a really beautiful thing that some people were able to have that kind of foresight.